The garden is quieting down now. The rows that once stood tall and green are giving way softer colors, browns, golds, and grays. Leaves are curling, stems are brittle, and the air feels a little heavier, as if it knows the season is shifting. As I walk through, I see the whole story of the year written here. There are plants that gave everything they had, some that didn't quite make it through, and some now that are showing the end of their journey with seed heads bowing heavy. It might look like an end, but in truth, it's only another chapter in the rhythm of the garden. Thoreau once wrote, "Live in each season as it passes. Breathe the air, drink the drink, taste the fruit, and resign yourself to the influence of each." Those words feel so alive here. The garden doesn't need to pretend that summer lasts forever. It teaches us to let go gracefully. So even as I look at these tired rows, plants faded, petals scattered, soil exposed, I don't feel sadness. I feel gratitude. Gratitude for what I grew here, for what fed the bees and brightened the days. This is the work of the garden: to bloom, to fade, to rest, and to begin again.
Hi everyone, I wanted to stop and just make a really quick video. We've had a lot of exciting updates that have happened this week in particular that I do want to talk about for the flower farm, and then just also kind of talk about life in general, and just, you know, how things have been going. As you saw in my previous footage, the garden is starting to wind down now for the season. Some things are finally had enough and are starting to go into their final stages, which is sad to see, but at the same time, you know, it's what we do as farmers, right? We know that there are seasons with everything. Those of you who have been following me for the past year, throughout this entire project that I've been doing of trying to become a flower farmer, have seen everything. You've seen my highs and lows, my ups and downs throughout the season. You've seen me want to give up. You've seen me want to continue to go forward, and you've seen my successes and my failures. You know that during some of those videos, I had talked about certain milestones that I wanted to hit. And these weren't necessarily financial milestones to a degree, but kind of where I wanted to see myself in the future as a flower farmer, what markets and stuff that I wanted to be in, to, you know, what areas of the industry that I wanted to work in, because as other flower farmers know, there's not just a cookie cutter one and done type of thing with being a flower farmer. You have multiple different options that you can do. You can do CSAs, you can do market farming, which is kind of what I'm doing, retail farming, which is retail market bouquets. You can do floristry work, which is specific for special occasions, weddings. You can do wholesaling work where you just focus on selling to floral wholesalers, who then sell off to florists and other folks who want to buy flowers. So there's a lot of different avenues. I mean, and you can go even deeper than that too and talk about seed production or propagating new species. I mean, there's a whole gamut to this flower farming realm, essentially. And so anyways, you all know that I was focusing on market retail, which is kind of what I've had a passion for, being a previous artist. I kind of know the ins and outs of selling to market, selling to retail type environments and things like that. And so that was where my focus was going to be driven for flowers and working directly with customers. So one of the big things of that is that I wanted to come here, get myself involved selling locally. And so you all saw my first attempt, which was a major crash and burn here within my local vicinity. I tried Marketplace, multiple different things, got pretty much no response. And so basically I gave that an attempt for my first few harvest of flowers for the springtime. And then I had to make the call to basically say, this is it, guys, either you want them or you don't. And they told me they didn't want them, so I decided I had to go to obviously a different tactic. And so my next step was to get involved into farmers market type of things. And so the first farmers market that I did sell at, it was also a rather bust. It was a hot weekend, which was stressful on me. It was stressful on the flowers. So I had to kind of push that one aside. And then I started on a different market that offered indoor AC, but unfortunately that one ended up being very, very craft bazaar type of place, which is not honestly what I wanted to be a part of. But the only way I was selling stuff there was the heavy marketing I was doing outside of that. Anyway, so yeah, so I've been through it all. I've been kind of struggling my way through it on this first season. Throughout all of this, I had the crazy notion of applying out to the larger farmers market in the local metropolitan area nearby us. I visited that market, noticed there was no presence of flowers at that particular market. And so I figured, okay, I'm gonna throw my hat in on here. I went ahead, put in an application months ago, and then lo and behold, this week I actually got my response back that I had been accepted as a vendor. My milestone was to get enough smaller grade markets under my belt. That way I could go to the larger scale markets and be like, hey, I'm qualified. Look at this. I've done it. I know what I'm talking about. And so anyways, so that's exciting news, right? So I'm now in a market which, one, is in a larger metropolitan area, which means I have more foot traffic coming. Two, there's folks who are coming there to specifically buy local. They know what they're looking for. I've got a lot of different demographics I can hit with this one. And the income brackets obviously are going to be more along the lines of folks who have money, that see flowers as something of a necessity rather than a luxury. And so that is what I wanted to kind of focus on, was getting in that market, and I have. And so I've got a lot of work ahead of me now. I'm not participating in any more of the small markets out there. Very sorry if you're watching this, to any of those folks who I've worked with and stuff. But right now I am just mad harvesting as much as I can right now out of my gardens to dry. And so my focus going into this larger scale market is going to be to dry flowers to sell in dried arrangements and wreaths and things of that sort going into this, because I am going in the winter months for this market. My first market will be in November. There is a possibility I could still have some fresh blooms that I can harvest and take with me. But for most of the matter, it is going to be dried for the season. That season is going to run until April. And then, guys, this is where it feels just so bittersweet. I just don't know what's going to happen to my season after this. I don't know if I'm going to have a grow season for next year. And I honestly don't know if I'm going to be in this area even, because like I said, we've done this, but it has been such a huge struggle between the soil, between the water quality, between the heat, and just everything else I've talked about. It's hard. And I'm not getting the blooms that are producing that I want to see. I'm not saying that it's impossible down here. There's others who have done it in the past, but there's a lot of other factors I don't have time to go into, to be quite honest, that I just, it just doesn't feel conducive to the vision that I want to see. And so that could mean that we're packing up and going elsewhere. I'm honestly not going to have a good answer until towards the end of this year, before we kind of make that jump or that decision or decide what we want to do. I guess what I can say though is that I'm so proud of what I have done here. This is probably the hardest place I could have picked to grow flowers. This is the hardest place you could have picked to grow anything, if I'm being honest. And I did it. I did it. I made full bouquets. They didn't have the greatest stem length, but I grew blooms. I'm picking multiple times a week at this point for my own pleasure and to dry, but I still have a bountiful harvest of blooms, and it's amazing that I could do that here. And it only makes me feel more confident now going into different regions, knowing that I grew in probably one of the hardest places and I made it work. Kudos to those who do grow out here full time. It's not easy. It's really, really not easy. Kudos to them. But to me, I want to go where I can kind of fully see my vision. And it's not here. It's not where I can't get monsoon rains. It's not where I have to use my crappy high chlorinated water. It's not where there's triple digits for months on end. I need the ability to kind of grow my vision and what I want to see and not have the massive amount of struggle and just feelings of defeat that I've had this season. I have this experience under my belt now. Again, I feel nothing but pride for what I have done, but behind that, I feel a lot of frustration. And so anyways, I know what I want now. As I spoke in my last one, this is my passion. This is what I want to do. And so I can only take it from here and figure out in this kind of puzzle of life where I'm going to fit in. And so with that, I wanted to share that announcement with you, along with how I'm feeling as well. But I appreciate you all. Thank you so much for watching. Take care, and I will talk to you next time.